Yes, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. That is indeed a Mewtwo. It's also a male Indeedee. Am I scared to use this team? You bet your sweet bippy I am. But what is going on, YouTube? Espresso Shuckle here, and today we are hitting the casual ladder with this pre-Reg G Mewtwo Indeedee team. So I'm holding true to what I said at the end of the Mewtwo discussion video. Here we are testing out Mewtwo on the casual ladder. Since the ranked ladder is still playing Regulation F, we are going to hit the casual ladder with Mewtwo and test it out. On this team here, we have Mewtwo and Indeedee to synergize naturally with each other, with the fact that Indeedee provides the psychic terrain with its Psychic Surge ability for Mewtwo. This means we don't have to worry about any priority attacks coming our way, and both Psystrike and Expanding Force are going to get a nice little power up from Mewtwo being on the psychic terrain. And on top of that, if we decide we want to click Expanding Force while Psychic Terrain is active, it's going to turn into a spread move, gain a power boost from its own effect and the Psychic Terrain in tandem, and just dent a lot of things. And plus, we also have a Choice Specs on this Mewtwo to bolster its special attack. We have Shadow Ball and Aura Sphere for some coverage on Mewtwo, and that's not where the only choice item on this team is, because we also have a Choice Scarf on the male Indeedee. So even if we don't want to necessarily click Expanding Force with Mewtwo, we can click it with Indeedee, or if we want to lock a Choice Scarf onto something else, or rather put them into a Choice Scarf situation with Trick, we can do that. Lock a setup sweeper into a setup move and then just render it useless. That's what I was thinking there. We have Incineroar here for a little bit of support with the Intimidate, being able to drop the attack stats of a lot of prevalent physical attackers in the game. We have Knockoff to remove any potential clear amulets or assault vests that might give Mewtwo a hard time, or overall just to remove any items that might be helping our opponents. We have Ogerpon here with some physical prowess with the Ivy Cudgel, with the Terra Water that can be further boosted up by Tornadus' Rain Dance that just bonk things with that Cudgel. We have the standard Horn Leech, Follow Me, and Spiky Shield spread, but overall I think Ogerpon is going to be relatively nice, especially since it does have that water absorbability. If we run into a Kyogre, well, Ogerpon might be a nice check to that. We have Archaludon here too. It's been a while since I've used Archaludon. We have an Assault Vest on it. We have the Stamina ability, so every time this thing takes damage, it's going to get a defense boost, which means Body Press might start racking up some damage over time. We have Flash Cannon and Draco Meteor for some solid stab options, and then we have its signature move of Electro Shot here to take advantage of the fact that we also have Rain on Tornadus to instantly fire. It's basically electric type Solar Beam for the Rain, but it also gives us that sweet special attack boost, which means our Archaludon might spiral out of control relatively quickly if my opponents don't deal with it. Anyways, I talked enough about the team. Let's jump on into some battles. Alright, we got a Gouging Fire, Fluttermane, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Walking Wake, all playing along with a Groudon. This is going to be fun because we have that Rain Dance. So, Mewtwo does not look bad here, especially since we also have the Covert Cloak on Torn. We can easily take a Fake Out with that. We can go for a Rain Dance if we need to, and Mewtwo can just do a lot of damage to things. So I think we're going to lead Torn Mewtwo. I think we bring Indeedee in the back, and then that way, if my opponent leads Rillaboom, great, we can override the grassy terrain that way. And overall, I think our last Pokemon is probably going to be Ogerpon, but Archaludon looks really nice here as well, since we do have that Electro Shot to hit a lot of Pokemon. It's neutral to both Walking Wake and Incineroar. Unfortunately, though, I don't think it really gets us much benefit against the rest of them, so I think we're going to bring the Ogerpon. Or we bring our own Incineroar. That could be nice, too. We could potentially do that. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the Ogerpon. And I cannot see past the cat. Hello, Noelle. Yeah. I know you want to be on the YouTubes, but I need to see what I'm doing. Alright, so Torn, Indeedee, Mewtwo, and Ogerpon. That should be a relatively nice combination. So let's see. We have Incineroar and Fluttermane coming out right out of the gate. Now, I don't like the idea of Mewtwo potentially taking a Fake Out. That's kind of yucky. So, we don't see a booster energy off of the Fluttermane, so that could actually be a Focus Sash. So, I think maybe what we want to do is bring in the Psychic Terrain. We might have to consider terrestrializing the Mewtwo, because if that's sashed, that could be bad. That said, what I might do is I might Rain Dance with Torn, and I think I might actually bring in the Ogerpon instead. And then this way, I can always go for the Ivy Cudgel, and if they bring in Groudon, great. I can always Horn Leech to do damage to the Fluttermane. So, Ogerpon's going to eat the Fake Out, that's fine. They might just double into the Ogerpon, and if they do, that's not the worst thing that could happen. So, there is going to be the Shadow Ball coming my way. Ogerpon's going to live it. Now, I think what I do want to do is I want to go for the Bleakwind Storm, and I think I'm going to Spiky Shield with the Ogerpon, just in case they switch in the Groudon here and then try to weaken Ivy Cudgel. And if they do weaken the Ivy Cudgel, I can always reset the rain with the Rain Dance. And if they don't switch in Groudon, well, at least I have some guaranteed spread damage coming Fluttermane's way. And then that way we can potentially break a Sash, and we can go from there. And if Incineroar decides it wants to go for a Flare Blitz or a knockoff into Ogerpon, it's just going to do a little bit of damage to itself, which is just wonderful. So, Torn's going to take the Shadow Ball here. It's going to bring us down to 20, but we live it. And if we get a guaranteed speed drop, or not a guaranteed speed drop, but if we get a speed drop, that's going to be very nice. So, here comes the parting shot off of Incineroar. Who is it going to be coming in? If it's Groudon, great. And if it's Rillaboom, not great, because, you know, Grassy Glide. But getting a Tailwind could be really nice here as well. So, it is Rillaboom. Alright, so not ideal, since they can now go for Fake Out into Ogerpon. That said, I do get a little bit of HP back from the Grassy Terrain, which is nice. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I think I'm going to Tailwind and pivot into Indeedee. And then this way here, I can get the Psychic Terrain, I can go for Expanding Force, and best of all, Grassy Glide is no longer a priority move. And this way, too, we can just start going for some good damage. So, definitely not the worst thing that could happen here. So, no Fake Out for you. Thank you, Psychic Terrain. And we're going to get our Tailwind, which means if Torn goes down here, Mewtwo can come in here, and Mewtwo can just do some monstrous amounts of damage with the Expanding Force if we want to. The other thing is if Incineroar comes in, we always have the Aura Sphere for it. So, I think we'll bring back the Mewtwo, because the nice thing here is Expanding Force is still a spread move. And we can always go Expanding Force with the Indeedee if we wanted to. And we can always go Aura Sphere into the Rillaboom slot. Because I don't think they... Nah. I don't know if Expanding Force off Indeedee is enough to take out the Fluttermane, though. So, I think maybe what we'll do is... It would be amazing if I could catch the, it'd be amazing if I could catch the Rillaboom switch into Incineroar. So, it's going to be the Fluttermane that switches out. So, here comes Incineroar. We're going to get major damage into the Rillaboom, unless the Rillaboom switches out. And, honestly, I can always switch Ogerpon back in. We're going to trick away our Choice Scarf into the Rillaboom. So what am I getting? Am I getting an Assault Vest? And I got a Metal Plate. That's not the greatest for me, but at least now Rillaboom's stuck having to use whatever. That's just a straight KO. Alright. Here's what we're going to do. We are now going to trick into Incineroar, and we're going to Expanding Force. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Here comes the Groudon. So, Fluttermane is a wee bit concerning in the back, but we can do a lot of damage to Groudon here. So, we're going to click Expanding Force into you, and we're going to trick into the Incineroar. Yeah. I would love to take a berry away from that thing if possible. And then Ogerpon can always come in and maybe try to stall out the sun. The keyword is maybe here. So here's the Terra. It is going to be the Groudon. Please don't be... Okay, your Terra Grass, I am very okay with that because you're still neutral to Psychic type damage. So earlier I did a practice match and I ran into a Terra Steel. Groudon is like, oh, that is unpleasant. But that's a wonderful amount of damage to the Groudon right there. So you can have the Metal Plate, Incineroar, and I will take your safety goggles. Okay, I can live with that. We're gonna dodge the Precipice Blades with the Mewtwo. Great. I do lose Indeedee here, but that's all right. Ogerpon can come back in here. We're gonna take a knockoff. There goes my specs. And most of my HP. Oof, that's a little bit gross. But what I can do now is I can always go for an Aura Sphere into the Incineroar and try to deal with it that way. Or I try to get rid of the Groudon and Ivy Cudgel the... Yeah, I think I try to Ivy Cudgel the Incineroar here and hope maybe that I can pick it up. I might have to Terra for that, though, just to try to get rid of it. Yeah, that's a little bit of a sketchy situation because we have the sun, but okay. I am very good with that. Hello, Fluttermane. I like the idea of doing a lot of damage to you. Yeah. So, we'll get our Ogerpon terastallized. I'm hoping, even with the Sun weakening, like, I'm hoping the Sun and the Terra boost cancel each other out so that I should be able to pick up the Incineroar with this Cudgel. And, if we do, great. So... Mewtwo's going to get the Expanding Force. We still do have the Psychic Terrain doing some big damage to that Fluttermane. That is gone. And so, if we can pick up the Incineroar with the Ivy Cudgel, that should put us in a really safe position here. So, we don't pick it up. That's a bit concerning now, but we could always go for a Spiky Shield and try to outlive the Sun here. Now, the Tailwind is gone. Not that that matters too much. We did see the Parting Shot off the Incineroar, so the Incineroar could always go for that, which is a little bit concerning. And we have 3 turns of Sun left, which is very concerning. But I'm going to go for the Spiky Shield, and hopefully they try to go for a attack into Ogerpon with Incineroar. There's the Terra Blast coming out of the Groudon. That's really bad for me, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is boiling down. Incineroar did go for the knockoff. It's going to take that chip damage from the Spiky Shield, and that is enough to knock it out. Now, unfortunately, though, I really do not think Ogerpon can finish off a resisted Groudon with the Terra Grass working in its favor. So, unfortunately, I think this is where this battle ends. I think I do lose here, unfortunately, but maybe I get lucky. Maybe I get a critical hit and pick it off. I doubt it. Oh, yeah, that did nothing. That did absolutely nothing. So, unfortunately, we do lose this one. I really needed that knockout into the Incineroar, and just the insult to injury. I took a critical hit off that. There was no way I was living that at that range. But if I had picked up the KO into the Incineroar, that would have been really nice, because then Mewtwo could have just handled Groudon and Yeah, maybe what I should have did was I should have gone for the Incineroar with the Aura Sphere and doubled into it. Yeah, that probably would have been for the best, but I don't know, because I think my Tailwind would have ended at that point too, and they would have been able to take me out. But anyways, good game to my opponent. All right, we got a Lugia team with Superior, Regidrago, Iron Hands, Gallade, and Thundurus. So they're probably going to be Eerie Impulse Thundurus into Superior, which is disgusting because yours truly has run that before, and it's a fun time for the Superior. What do I want to do to deal with this? I think I want to bring the Mewtwo and Indeedee. And I really want to get off an Expanding Force into the Thundurus. The Iron Hands would be just wonderful to hit with as well. Yeah, Tornadus in the back is going to be really nice. And I think I want to bring the Archaludon in the back. I don't know if I want to bring Archaludon in the back or if I want to bring it as part of the lead now, actually. Because Archaludon puts a lot of pressure on that Lugia. Yeah. I think I'm going to bring it in the back just in case. Mewtwo and Indeedee, the whole point here is why we're leading with them is so that we can do as much damage as possible. And if we can always put that Choice Scarf onto my opponent, that could be relatively nice at the end of the day. The Psychic Terrain is going to be very reliable for making sure Mewtwo is safe from that. So there is indeed the Thundurus and Superior coming my way. They can always go for a Scary Face into that thing, which would be really, really bad. But I don't think anything but the Lugia switches into Expanding Force. So, yeah. A lot of my opponent's team does not switch into Expanding Force nice. So we're going to click Expanding Force into Superior, and we're going to click Expanding Force into Superior. Yeah, we're just going to double Expanding Force here. There's the Scary Face, which we all know that that's a thing because I have used it. We're going to take that Leaf Storm, no problem. And this should result in a double KO right here, which means my opponent's setup should be considered null and void at that point. Thank you, Mewtwo, and thank you, Indeedee, as well. Male Indeedee is definitely working very nicely here. I do kind of want to switch Mewtwo out into Archaludon, though, and then that way I can always reset my Choice Specs. I don't mind... Oh, Biggie Small's the Rank Master. Oh, that's Iron Hands. Okay. I like you. I really like you a lot. And like butter. Oh, like cutting butter. Okay. Yeah, I like you too. Right, Silly Me, Expanding Force, and Expanding Force. Psy Spam. You love to hate it, but it is fun. Alright, let's do this here. Oh, you know what? Wide Guard off Gallade. Wide Guard could be a big problem here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gallade does get that. I don't know if Iron Hands gets it, but this could actually be really, really bad. Oh, yeah, this could actually be really, really bad here. Terra Ghost, okay. If Mewtwo lives this, I'm definitely switching it out so that I can Shadow Ball that thing. No Wide Guard, okay, great. We're going to get off the Expanding Force, and we're going to get the second Expanding Force off immediately after it. So, there we go. Bye-bye. Yeah, I am very happy about that. Yeah. That said, don't do what I just did right out of the gate, because if you run into Wide Guard, that's going to ruin your strategy right there. But just keep that in mind for the future. Also, I'm good game to my opponent. All right, we got Tornadus, Groudon, Fluttermane, Walking Wake, Farigiraf, and Clefairy. So, overall, my opponent has anti-priority with the Farigiraf. They have a little bit of damage reduction with Friend Guard off the Clefairy, plus redirection support. They have two Photosynthesis Pokemon that are going to benefit from Groudon, and on top of that, Walking Wake does not dislike the Rain Dance off of my Tornadus because it still boosts up water type attacks. So overall, my opponent does have a pretty scary looking team at the end of the day. So what I kind of want to do is I kind of want to go Ogerpon, and I kind of want to bring out the Tornadus right out of the gate. I think Tornadus could be really nice here, especially since we have the Rain Dance. Actually, you know what? I want to bring Archaludon. I want to bring that because I do have the Electro shot that I can just immediately turn on with the Rain. And not a lot of Pokemon are going to appreciate that. I think we bring Mewtwo, and I think we bring the Indeedee, and then that way we have the Psychic Terrain as well. So I think we're going to leave Ogerpon on the bench here, because while I would love to bonk that Groudon with an Ivy Cudgel, it's probably got a Terra that is going to make it either neutral or resistant to water. So probably for the best to leave Ogerpon on the bench, actually. So let's see. It is going to be Clefairy and Fluttermane coming out as the lead. So there's the redirection support right there, which I don't dislike because I want to go for the Rain Dance immediately and go for the Electro shot. I want to get that special attack boost, in all honesty. And this Archaludon, EV-wise, can live a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam from the Fluttermane, if I remember correctly. It has been a long time since I used this Archaludon. So I think when I built it with the idea of going up against max special attack Choice Specs timid Fluttermane. So I don't remember if I had to use my Terra or not to be able to live that. But that said, we should be okay at the end of the day. So we'll get our Rain Dance off. We're going to get our Electro shot into this Clefairy. So we'll get a special attack boost. And I don't really care too much about that Icy Wind, all things considering. So I am going to get a defense boost out of that, which will help should I run into my opponent's physical attackers. I don't like the damage that did to my Tornadus, but I can always go for a Bleak Wind Storm with Tornadus, but I want to go for a Protect here. And then that way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Flash Cannon into the Clefairy slot. And then that way, that'll be some super effective damage. And if we can avoid the Follow Me in the future, great. We have some big damage coming off of Torn. They're going to bring in the Groudon here, which, not the end of the world. I can always go for another Rain Dance. And then that way, too, we don't have to worry about any fire-type coverage moves that Groudon might have. And plus, we got our +1 special attack off into the Archaludon last turn. So that's going to be very handy at the end of the day. Now, one thing that I do have to be very weary of is the fact that I am a Steel type. Yeah. That is a bad realization, too. But I kind of figured that was going to be the case going into this. Dealing with Groudon. The one nice thing, though, is Precipice Blades' accuracy is not 100, so it could potentially miss. We're going to remove the Sun to weaken that Walking Wake. And I don't want to go for a Draco Meteor because they can always switch in the Fluttermane, which means Draco Meteor and Body Press are both going to be not the greatest options. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon into the Groudon slot. Or I guess the Fluttermane, because they switched out the Groudon expecting the Rain Dance. I don't mind getting that super effective damage off into Fluttermane. And with the Assault Vest, I should be okay to live Walking Wake's attack. Yeah, I should be okay here. And this might be a good time to go for a Tailwind, all things considered. They have a substitute. That's a little spooky, not gonna lie. But I think... Ooh, that brought it down to its dash. I think what I want to do is I want to Tailwind, get some speed, and then this way Mewtwo and Indeedee can come in here. and start doing some big damage. We're going to body press right into the Walking Wake substitute. And then this way too, we should be able to break it, all things considered. And if we do break it, great. That should leave us the ability to clean up with double expanding force nonsense, which is disgusting. I don't like it, but it's at my disposal, so I'm going to take advantage of it. So we are definitely going to do that. I just hope with the -1 speed drop from the Icy Wind that we should be able to still outspeed with Tailwind to try to break that substitute with the Walking Wake, and then try to just nail it from there. So all things considered, I just want to see where this goes. Also, I love how small that substitute is compared to the Torn for the close-up there. So we'll get our Tailwind. If I get a double KO on my side and I lose both of these Pokemon, I get in both Indeedee and Mewtwo. That is really nice. So I'm definitely getting in one of them. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get Archaludon off the field, but I am going to do damage to that Walking Wake, which is going to be very, very nice. And what I could do if I break the substitute here is go into Mewtwo, bring in Indeedee, and then go for the double expanding force. So overall, I think that's what I need to do, since I do have the specs. And Archaludon is not doing much to Groudon, let's be honest. So my setup is not the... It's not going to be bad at the end of the day here, losing my setup. So I think we're just going to bring in the Indeedee. And we have the Tailwind. We're going to have the Psychic Terrain. Flutter Mane is at 1 HP, pretty much. I don't remember if I saw the Focus Sash animation or not, but I think... Ooh, that brought it down to its Sash. We have it close enough. Unless they go Protect here, we should be good to pick up the KO into the Flutter Mane. And I am relatively confident that we're going to knock out the Walking Wake here. And a 3v1 against Groudon is going to be wonderful. Now they're going to switch in Groudon. I'm okay with that. I'm pretty sure it was special attack boosting Walking Wake here. So we're going to get some huge damage off. And so long as I still have my Tailwind up, my Mewtwo is faster than max speed booster Flutter Mane with Tailwind. So we should be okay. And if we run out of Tailwind, which is very well possible because I have not been paying attention like a simpleton, we should be okay with the Indeedee here. Groudon switched in to lose most of its HP. We're Choice Scarfed on Indeedee. We have the Choice Specs working in our favor for Mewtwo. Overall, I think I'm in a relatively safe position here. So we're going to... I gotta remember to stop trying to click the Psystrike. I gotta pay attention to that a little bit better. But anyways, we're just gonna go for the double expanding force. And my opponent's just gonna take it off the Indeedee right there. So there goes both the Flutter Mane and the Groudon right there. So overall, I am very happy with how Mewtwo played out between this here. It was definitely a nice situation to bring the Mewtwo in once we got the Tailwind and the Psychic Terrain up. And yeah, being able to switch into the Indeedee and get the terrain was really good. Now, if my opponent had a Rillaboom here, that could have been really, really bad for me because, you know, then I'd have to be worrying about the terrain. But it just goes to show how strong Rain Dance or any other weather-changing move can be for disrupting weather-setting abilities. And then having the terrain working in tandem is really nice. So anyways, that's my main ramble for the post-battle there. A good game to my opponent. Hey, so that wasn't as much of a disaster as I thought it was going to be. We did lose our first match against a Terra Grass Groudon team. It was a relatively close game at the end of the day. Unfortunately, the sun just was a little bit too much to overwhelm my Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel to pick up a very needed KO into my opponent's Incineroar, which allowed them to remove Mewtwo from the field. But all things considered, it only went uphill from there. We ran into a second team that actually had a Lugia, and honestly, I didn't even realize it. They didn't even bring the Lugia to that match. We just clicked Expanding Force and just annihilated their superior after they got a scary face speed boost thanks to Contrary. And then my Indeedee and Mewtwo just looked at both of them and just said, get out of here. It just blasted them into oblivion with an Expanding Force of their own. And then Iron Hands and Glade came in, and we just rinsed and repeated there. We just hit them each with an Expanding Force off both the Mewtwo and the Indeedee and just went from there. In our third game, we played a second Groudon team, and we were able to control the flow of battle with Rain Dance off of the Tornadus. We got a later setup Tailwind, and then with the Tailwind working in our favor, we brought Mewtwo in once Tornadus went down. We clicked Expanding Force, we switched out our Archaludon into Indeedee, and then turned on Expanding Force's full power, unleashing its full capabilities, and did some colossal damage. We brought Groudon right down to the red. We finished off the Walking Wake. Overall, it was a very good time. And that opponent also brought a Clefairy, which just ate a +1 Flash Cannon off of our Archaludon after we boosted up our special attack with an Electro Shot. So overall, I'm very happy with how that played out. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Mewtwo and how you might think about it in Regulation G once the actual format starts in May. I will see you guys next time.